What is going on, everybody? It's Alex coming back at you with another video. And today we're going to be doing a Ravens 7-round mock draft. I almost said Bengals because I was about to say Baltimore. But if you guys are new, like, comment, subscribe. If you guys like draft content, do that as well because I do it almost every single day. But of course, we are going to be redoing this after the season when everything is set and when every single ounce of tape is watched. So if you guys do enjoy these and want to see another one, feel free to stick around. And of course, if you want to talk with me a little bit more, go down in the comments section. But of course, you can do the same in the Discord server below. DM me, do whatever you want. We'll be doing a fan mock over the offseason as well. So before we get into the mock, let's look at the team really quick. Quarterback, we don't even need to discuss that. Hopefully, Tyler Huntley can be brought back, or he deservedly gets a nice contract somewhere else. Running backs, I don't think we need to look at that either. It's pretty much set. But wide receiver, we're losing Sammy Watkins, but there's so much talent here, and I'm sure there's going to be some crazy talented player that falls to them in some round that the loss of Sammy Watkins really doesn't mean much. Devin Duvernay was one of my favorite players. Tylan Wallace, excellent value for the pickup. Same with James Prochet here, and of course your first round pick from before, Rashad Bateman. This team's doing it well. And for tight ends, I think there could be a tight end 2 situation where you can go after someone. Nick Boyle really isn't tight end 2 quality in my eyes. Of course, you guys feel free to disagree with that, but Nick Boyle is certainly a solid option. Mark Andrews, again, he's a freak, but I think that the value of a potential receiving threat as a tight end 2 would be pretty solid. But again, I'm not going to force anything like that. But for right tackle, we got Ronnie Stanley here as well as Juwan James. Juwan James is not going to be playing much of another, and he's not going to be much value besides a backup, and especially given his contract, which is excellent. I don't know why teams like the Steelers didn't do something like that. I mean, he's perfect to be your backup to Ronnie Stanley, who is an absolute stud when he's healthy, which unfortunately he hasn't been very healthy as of recent. So we are going to be looking also at the right tackle or the left tackle spot, which I think is the big question of the draft. That is Alejandro Villanueva's spot. And as a Steelers fan, yes, I am a fan of the enemy. I obviously know how amazing of a person he is. However, we all know that the talent is just not requisite anymore. So it doesn't meet the standards. And I'm pretty sure you guys agree he's not the long-term answer there. He's there for a couple more years, or not one more year after this one, but still not worth it. Guard-wise, I think you guys are okay. Zeitler, Cleveland, as well as you, Patrick Mercari here. You know, you have guys who can make a good impact, and it's not a position that I'm heavily going to be drafting, especially for this team. Getting some depth wouldn't be terrible because, again, Patrick Mercari is gone, and you're pretty much down to Ben Powers, Ben Cleveland, and Kevin Zeitler, but that would have to be a later round decision. Another spot that we could look is on this defensive front, but we'll look at that in a second because I want to finish off the offense with center, which is another position of need. Obviously, if Tyler Linderbaum somehow falls to us, that is going to be our instant target. I don't care how many drafts I do. Tyler Linderbaum is my number 5 player in the draft. So if you ever see him fall to anywhere past 5, he's probably going to be on my hot list. So let's look quickly at the defense. Let's look at the secondary really quick. You got Marlon Humphrey, Mark Spears, Tavon Young, Brandon Stevens, all guys who will be there. I don't know too much about Inman Marshall, but the rest are up for contracts. So getting corner depth wouldn't be a terrible idea. With Brandon Stevens kind of being thrown into the fire, represent SMU, baby. But, you know, Marcus Peters, he's a very solid corner. He's going to be there for one more year. Marlon Humphrey deservedly gets his monster-ass contract. Excellent corner. I'm a big fan of him. But that is I mean, just the depth is probably going to be the issue there. Safety wise, I'm a little bit more concerned. You got Anthony Levine up for a contract this year. You got Chuck Clark, and I think Chuck Clark has been very serviceable. Deshaun Elliott's, you know, he's up for a contract anyways. Obviously, I'm pretty sure he came out of Texas. It was one of the first drafts I ever even had a remote idea of what was going on. And Ardarius Washington, the steal of the free agent class or UDFA class. Geno Stone, also a guy who I really like, up for a contract. So I would say watch out for a safety in one of the earlier rounds because I think that would be a really good option. I think that's the right move. I actually started recording this earlier and I decided to redo the mock because I don't want to have you guys seeing like daytime me and then nighttime me in the middle of a mock draft. But Lewis Sign was there in the second round. And if you guys know anything, Lewis Sign's an absolute monster. And of course, he was the one who's infamous for laying out Kyle Pitts. Shout out to one of my subs for putting that down in the comment section. I think he'd be a really good fit on this team. He'd be very nasty as a safety, but I'm not going to force anything like that. We could go for another later round pickup because Ardarius isn't a strong. He's more of a free, but we'll go from there. Looking at the defensive front, because in the linebacking room, because I think the defensive front is the biggest issue. You got Patrick Queen here. He's brought the inconsistencies over from LSU. If you guys watch, I think it was like my second video, I talked about how I wasn't very happy with how Patrick Queen was inconsistent over at LSU, and it's translated. You've seen some A+ level play from Patrick, but of course we have that going on. A+ level play from Patrick, but we've also seen some pretty poor play from him. So we're gonna reshuffle it by position. Bottom line, when you have other guys in here like Malik Harrison, and as well as Jalen Ferguson, I don't think going after a linebacker necessarily is a big need. I know Jalen Ferguson is a pass rusher, but I don't think that is going to be something that's a huge target unless we get a great steal. So we also have Odafe Owe, an amazing athletic monster who had 0 sacks in his final season, but lots of pressure, which was a good sign. Usually pressure is much more consistent than sacks. And Tyus Bowser, I think you're perfectly set here. Again, that's a really good contract for Tyus Bowser as well. With hopefully you can maybe bring back Purnell for one more year, continue developing guys like Odafe. It would not put out of the question going somebody at outside linebacker, though. If you get Nick Benito there, I would not be shying away from it. No pun intended with Jason Owe there or Odafe Owe. This is the big issue for me right here in this defensive front. Brandon Williams up for a contract. He's your actual only starting level or starting quality defensive tackle on your entire roster. No disrespect to Justyn Madubuike. I just don't think he has that upside that a lot of other prospects might. Yeah, I think that's a huge point of concern for me. Calais Campbell is going to be up for a contract as well. At his age, he might retire. And I love Calais Campbell. I have a huge passion for the guy. Excellent athlete, and he's been one hell of a competitor. Very scary to see him go across my Steelers twice a year. Derek Wolfe, I mean, he's 31 years old, and he's nothing special, to put it lightly. Dalen Hayes from Notre Dame, I mean, he has some sort of physical upside, but even guys like this draft, like Foskey, who I think that Isaiah Foskey might be even better for this team. You could actually put him as a rotational outside linebacker. I think there's just better guys. And then Justin Houston, he's a solid depth pick right there. So that is the roster. Let's kick into this video. Let's have a little bit of fun because it is 2 a.m. and I would love to get this out to you guys tomorrow or technically today. So we'll see what happens. Of course, if you guys are new to the series, we do not accept trades at all. Even though I pay money for them to be able to be generated, I think that it's for the best to not have to deal with all the inconsistencies. And so far, we hadn't gotten a trade. So I was very happy with the lack of trade spam. So cool. But yeah, it's just too much RNG. If you guys don't play like games and stuff, it's basically saying there's too much variability. So number 25. Actually, this board fell better than I was expecting. Unfortunately, of course, Tyler Linderbaum goes to a team that just signed Chase Roullier to a very long contract. So that's the only issue with putting IOL as a position, is that sometimes the mock machine sucks. But when you look at it, interior defensive line, we're not going to be drafting any of these guys right now. And defensive end wise, not drafting any of these guys right now. I think left tackle is the biggest position for potential here. I don't know why Nicholas Petit-Frere is going to be up this high. He ranked a 7.7 pass blocking grade against Michigan, and then he did something very similar against Penn State with Arnold Ebiketie. To me, there's a lot of upside with Nicholas, but at the same time, there's some very big red flags that push him way out of the first and probably into the later second for me. Trevor Penning, on the other hand, fits perfectly with what this team's doing. Unbelievable run blocker. He's huge, athletic, light on his feet, and extremely raw. So this is perfect for a guy, since Villanueva's there, to be able to sit and then move in when injuries happen and stuff like that. This guy is absolutely phenomenal. Even people like Todd McShay have hopped on this train. I was one of the first to put Trevor on this to the Ravens, and I've been doing it ever since. I think Trevor Penning is an outstanding tackle, and if you saw how Spencer Brown performed last year at the combine, getting a 9.99 RAS score, which means raw athletic score, essentially it tests how athletic you are. This guy could get close to that, and that's ridiculous. Even if you get above a 9, there are teams like the Saints that are notorious for drafting high-end athletes, and this is a team that would probably be pretty interested in that. So let's see what happens. Washington's offering us a trade. Of course, we are going to politely decline that because and Lewis Cine just went. So this is already shaping up to be a much different draft than the one I did earlier today. So here is where I'm going to be looking at the interior defensive line class. Perrion Winfrey and Travis Jones are here. Zachary Carter as well. All guys who I think would be really good options. Zachary Carter might be the most interesting since he's played 4-3 edge as basically a full defensive end on the outside. I think a 5-tech versus a 3-tech. Travis Jones might be our most fun option right here. And if you guys don't know anything about this guy, 328 pounds, 13% body fat. He is the definition of a physical freak. I would be perfectly happy taking him. I have not studied Josh Pascal that much, so I'm going to defer that for right now. Kingsley and Nagbear would be a really good option. Out of respect for my draft board, I don't think there's a way in hell that he's here when you have guys like Myjai Sanders and Drake Jackson on the board. Kingsley's just been a lot better. We might just pass on this. No pun intended with Josh Pascal, but I think value later on with Zach Harrison, ZTF might be better. It honestly might, but we'll look a little bit more. Obviously, it's not over. Like this, we haven't picked yet. I think Travis Jones, you need that guy to plug up the middle. He's 330 pounds. Might just be worth it. So let's get the kid out of UConn. I mean, he is nasty. He's a nasty interior defensive lineman. I really do like what I've seen from him. 328 pounds at that 13% body fat is just ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Again, not going to be taking any of these trade offers. If we decide to go anywhere else in the first round, Bernard Raymond in the second would be someone I would be pounding on the door to get. Love the guy. Absolutely love it. If we can get Zachary Carter with this next pick, that'd be a dream. Again, someone who can be moving in, and I love his athleticism for his size. Very raw talent, but this is a team that could use it. Oh, don't screw us over. Don't screw us over. Ooh, let's go. So Zachary Carter's still on the board. It says IDL. We've gotten a nose tackle. Yes, going tackle IDL doesn't sound like a great thing, but it's the same thing as edge. It is. It's a 3-4. It's a 3-4 defensive end. So it is kind of an edge bender right there. And again, he can work in those sub packages as a 4-3. I just love his versatility. You could go after someone like Nolan Smith, who is 235 pounds to be on the outside. But given our contract situation, I don't think that's a bright move. Corner wise, there's no one here who I'm like super excited about. Kobe Bryant, probably the only guy who I'd be probably willing to take at this moment. I don't think that we need to go after corner depth right now. Don't know why TDN has it ranked like this, but I do respect these top two needs. Tight end wise, I'm pretending like Josh Wiley and Jaleel Billingsley are returning to school. That's just the way I do it. Josh Wiley's been tight end 2 for his team for a little bit, even though he was my tight end 1 at the beginning of the year. He's probably my tight end 2 now if he comes out, just because Trey McBride has taken it up to a whole new level. Interior offensive line wise, we don't exactly need it, but if we wanted to get somebody to play a guard center hybrid, you could look at Alec Lindstrom. I'm not going to. We might go after Donovan West later on just to be able to get somebody in there. But honestly, you guys can put in your thoughts down in the comment section below. Getting a defensive end like Zachary Carter seems like it could be the best thing to do. He's almost 290 pounds. If he loses a little bit of weight as well, you can use him on the outside. You just watch this guy play, and he plays arguably, I would have considered Foskey at this point too. I think that he is as athletic as Cox, right? As Brandon Cox. I think that he's just as athletic with a lot more upside. Boye Mafe is someone I want to recommend as an outside linebacker heir apparent. But for right now, I think that a guy like Zachary Carter is worth so much more because he can slim down and get more athletic, or he can be himself and just be an absolute physical nightmare on the interior. It says interior defensive line. Literally last week he was listed at edge. So that's just TDN doing TDN things. And that's okay. I think that his versatility is ridiculous and I would love it. So now we got our fix at the defensive and offensive line spots. With our next pick, we might even go defensive line again, but that's hyper unrealistic. Let's see who else is here. Wide receiver wise, you could get someone like Romeo Dubs. Wouldn't be a terrible idea. You could look again in the tight end room. I mean, we might consider Josh Wiley coming out given the fact that his entire team is pretty much going to be done. Like Cincinnati is just not going to be as nearly competitive without a guy like Desmond Ridder there. We could definitely look at a guy like Kobe Bryant because again, there's a chance that Marcus Peters won't be there. It can get messy, right? We could consider that. We could consider even getting a guy like Max Mitchell to be good depth. Don't think that's a bright move. Safety wise, Nick Cross is here. Probably the only other safety I'd draft in this class. That wouldn't be a bad idea. But, looking at how everything has turned out, I honestly think going after a guy like Kobe Bryant wouldn't be a bad idea. Excellent in man. He has the size and he's good depth. Kobe Bryant out of Cincinnati, I think that he's just proven. He is also an award winner as best corner in the nation. He's just proven that he's going to be consistent enough to be able to light up the league. And especially given the fact that he'll be cornerback 4 or 5, that is going to give him a lot of opportunity to grow and shine, especially if Marcus Peters doesn't return. At 107, though, I mean, I really just want to continue going on this this defensive line train with Boye Mafe here. If you guys haven't seen him, he's arguably the most freaky athlete I've seen for a later round, dude. You guys can just read this if you guys want to know a quick little snapshot of it. You just need to watch how he plays. Yeah, I mean, you should see how long his arms are as well. Like he looks like Kevin Durant out there with a little bit more meat on him. So this guy's ridiculously talented and he feels like such a Raven that it might be almost impossible not to take. Because you think about it, wide receiver, you just need depth. Running back don't even need anything. Quarterback don't need anything. Tight end, we can talk about that, but you still don't need anything there. And boy, the defensive front is atrocious. Just to be blunt, it's atrocious. We fixed that. I still think you could get someone like Boye Mafe to play on the outside. The linebackers are okay. I don't see anybody left on the board unless it's Chad Mumma, who'd be worth this pick. So, or that would improve the team at least. And then you look at the secondary, and we've already kind of addressed that. So, given our nature, if we can't probably find Alec Lindstrom in here, and we can't. Donovan West is not going to be worth it to me at this moment. If we have another pick, we can go there. But honestly, screw the press. We're going Boye Mafe out of Minnesota. Going sub 4.6 with a almost 41-inch vertical with that type of explosiveness is just kind of unseen with these mid to late round prospects. He has all the pieces that I would ever look for in an edge prospect. Unlike these two guys, I cannot stand either of them. So screw them. But I mean, I absolutely love what Boye Mafe brings to the table. And now we're going to get Donovan West, the arguably second best center in the draft. Of course, really making me mad is Ricky Stromberg, who decided to go back to school. Really hurts me because he was bona fide center 2 for this draft. Dylan Parham, Tyrese Robinson, not a fan of either of them. Where did my guy go? Where did my boy go? Tyler Smith. I can't stress it enough. That guy's a freaking beast. But the center position definitely needs some help. Donovan West has a lot of pieces that you're looking for to continue developing. And holy shit, we have a lot of picks. But he has a lot of what I like to see in a prospect. Breece Hall, of course, going at 128 is ridiculous. Still, honestly, Jack Campbell could be really fun. He's young. He's big. I'm pretty sure. Is he 6'5"? Yeah. I might have taken him before, like pretty recently. So we might stray away from continuing going back and back and back. That's a little bit annoying. I was looking for the linebacker out of LSU, not Ed Ingram. I'm bugging on his name right now, but he went way earlier. Damone Clark, because obviously go back to the LSU train. You know what? Screw it. I may be unoriginal with this pick, but getting a rotational guy like Jack Campbell who tackles like a motherfucker and he is an excellent linebacker. I mean, I will take that any day of the week. At this spot, Charlie Kohler might be a really nice tight end. I'm not going to continue going the Greg Dulcich train. I'm not going to get the same guys every single draft. Charlie Kohler was supposed to be a second round tight end last year, and he's been very consistent throughout his career. It's just he's never taken it to another level. Actually, Cole Turner deserves some respect as well. I've heard a lot of good things about Cole Turner, but we're going to go Charlie Kohler here. Just again, a really solid tight end. He's going to be a good tight end 3, tight end 4 hybrid right there. It just offers, I mean, it's a 4th round pick as well. It just offers you a lot. And again, in the real draft, I'd trade some of these for maybe next year's picks, but for now, that's good. This spot, oh, I really want to get Ainias Smith again. Ainias Smith is someone who I really like as somebody who's an excellent gadget weapon. We might get Khalil Shakir here, though. That would be a really good backup. If you wanted to, you can get Bailey Zapp as well. Out of respect for him, because I know he's going to be going round 3 or earlier, we're not going to do that. So running back, wide receiver wise, you can look at all these guys. And I mean, Ainias Smith, we're not going to be unoriginal and continue going the same route. I'm going to go Khalil Shakir here to be another gadget weapon. You look at him and size wise, if I'm not mistaken, actually, to be fair, Romeo Doubs is more comparable size-wise to a Sammy Watkins. Oof, that's a little bit annoying because Reggie Roberson could also be a really good option here. You know what? We're gonna get off the Khalil Shakir train. I was about to pull the trigger, but I'm not gonna go Romeo Doubs again. I just went him, so it's just like if you really want him that badly, go with it. We could go for another running back, more of a scat back, but again, this team doesn't need it. So this is why I like to trade out. That's just the way I do it. Unfortunately, I made my own stupid rule to say I can't do that. THT wouldn't be a bad slot corner, though. He is the nephew, if I'm not mistaken, of LT, which we can check. Yep, nephew of LT. I think that you went a slot corner last year, and now you have another boundary. Getting a backup slot is never a bad thing, especially since they play a very good role or a very big role in the NFL today. Given his background as LT's nephew, I think that's going to also provide a lot of cool aspects of it's just like it's a really interesting thing to get behind. So I like THT as well. I had him as like a second rounder at the start of the year. Again, probably should have evaluated him more at the value of a slot corner rather than the value of his talent. So it is what it is, but we'll see who is going to be there at our next pick, even though we've had 1,000 picks already. So honestly, if it were me, I'd be now looking maybe towards you could go another lineman. I don't think that's the right move. We could look at somebody else. Ooh, Velus Jones would be fun. I do like Velus Jones a lot. Very good wide receiver out of Tennessee. Excellent return man as well. Glad that some of these guys are being added here finally. DJ Matthews is another guy. I don't know why people are showing so much hate towards this guy. I mean, he plays at a very, very high level, and I like him a lot. Velus Jones could be an excellent return man. I think we have enough return men, though. Just for probably my next mock draft, I might go after a guy like Velus Jones. So, really big fan of that guy. Running back wise, if I still saw that Ainias Smith were here, we'd probably take him. Not the case anymore. Maybe it should be time to go wide receiver though. Charleston Rambo, absolutely freaking not. We're actually going to go Justin Ross here. I don't know why. There we go. It was freezing. You know, I honestly thought he was a little bit larger. It's worth the pick at this point. Again, we like these athletically upsided wide receivers, and Justyn Ross is the perfect guy to take on. Again, he was a top 15 prospect going into the 2021 NFL draft before. Obviously, he had that spinal injury, or spinal surgery. So we'll see what happens. Of course, the Rams have 3 6th round picks here in a row. Very entertaining. And then, of course, them getting a running back definitely makes sense. Not. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. We'll have a good time here. Xavier Thomas would be another guy. If he falls to us, I am 100% pulling the trigger on him. And will he? That'd be kind of ridiculous. I can't, like, I love Xavier Thomas's upside as I would love that as a Steelers fan as well. As a pure athlete, there's not much better that you can get. And if Owen Papo, I don't even know if we have a 7th round pick, to be fair. If Owen Papo fell to us, I'm like, ooh, that'd be nice. So we might have one more, which in that case, I might go after just probably another pass rusher or something. But if not, it's fine. We'll see what happens. And we do not have another pick. So we had plenty up until this point. But then after that, no more. So taking a quick look at our monster draft, we got Trevor Penning here. So our offensive line, Donovan West, Trevor Penning, it's looking pretty damn bright for the future. Defensive line, we got our nose tackle, Travis Jones, saves a lot of money on a guy like Brandon Williams. Zachary Carter, one of those interior defensive ends who can play very good or very well as one of these sub-package outside guys. Especially if you see 3 tight end sets, you put Zachary Carter as a 5 tech, he's going to be able to penetrate through those tight ends. So big fan of that. Kobe Bryant, Boye Mafe, Jack Campbell as well, THT. You're offering a lot of guys chances to make a really big impact on this team. And if not, they're excellent depth for many years with a lot of developmental upside. Justyn Ross, Charlie Kohler, both guys who can make a big impact on this offense if they continue to get back to the form that they were a year ago. So that's going to be the draft, guys. Honestly, turned out kind of fun. I'm a guy who likes the trenches. I used to be a former offensive lineman, tackle, center, and guard, as well as a defensive tackle and a defensive end. So I kind of know the roost, and I just absolutely love going and making sure these defensive and offensive lines are stout. Let me know what you guys think, though. See you on the far side. Peace.